expose just how toxic and how harmful these dispersants are. That's the biggest, from everyone I've talked to, that's the biggest issue that needs to be exposed that we're dealing with. Obviously, we need to cap the thing, but these dispersants are just making a really bad situation 100 times worse. So that is the of utmost importance, is to expose this myth that these dispersants are doing good. I even heard the president talk about these dispersants like 2 days ago. We're doing everything we can. We're doing this. We're doing that. We're putting ships out, in the ocean and bringing in the National Guard, and we're using dispersants. And I'm thinking to myself, my God, the last thing everybody's telling me that needs to happen.
So, what's the local plant life going through down there? Can you give us a picture about the grass dying because of all this dispersant spraying, the weeds, the forests?
I haven't. See, I've either been in an airplane over it, or I've been on the beaches. And then now I'm how many miles inland are we in right now, Wade?
10 miles.
Yeah, we're 10 miles in. We're 10 miles in, and I'm not seeing any indication of any plant life dying 10 miles in. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it.
Well, no, that's good. I mean, obviously
yeah,
that's a good sign.
Yeah, I would tell you if I haven't been looking for it, but I haven't been seeing it. But what I have been doing is looking for signs of this oil on the beaches, in the water. There's a report coming back from a laboratory from a woman we're working with right now who took some water samples. We'll have that probably in the next 24 hours. I'm in touch with her from a lab. So we'll be able to determine just how toxic the water is here in Alabama. I think they took the samples in Orange Beach. So we're just looking for, we're just trying to keep it as solid and credible and present the evidence in the most credible fashion we possibly can. And like I said, I'm happy to talk about what I'm kind of hearing on the street, but I can't prove it. You know what I mean? I can't prove it.
No, and I mean that's great that you're holding back until you can verify that what you're saying is true. But what's the general consensus that you're getting from talking to all these subject matter experts as far as and what's their prognosis? What do they see as a long-term result from this exposure?
We've entered uncharted territory.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, yeah, we don't. It's all a big experiment at this point. They've used, I think it's over 1 million gallons of these dispersants, which is over 10 times the amount that they used at the Exxon Valdez spill.
And they're still using them, correct?
The numbers vary all the time, but I'm hearing like we have the equivalent here in the Gulf of an Exxon Valdez every week.
Right, and they're still using them?
The numbers keep varying, but they keep going up.
Wow, but they are still using them, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yes. They're using them constantly. If you
we've seen pictures.
And they're spraying. They're spraying from airplanes. They're using it at 5,000 feet.
Yeah, we've seen chemtrail planes, pictures of them actually spraying the dispersant over, not only over the water, but it looks like across the beaches.
Yeah, well, these planes are flying really, really low that do it, really, really low. I mean, at one point I saw footage of this one airplane. I remember thinking it looked like the wing was going to touch the water. They're just spraying it right over the oil. And
wow.
And here's another thing is that one of the things that Dr. Safina really wanted to see was these confirmation of these underwater plumes of oil. And we saw them and we clearly documented it on camera. And if you type in on YouTube, any of your listeners out there, go to YouTube, type in Dr. Safina, that's S as in Sam, A as in Apple, F as in Frank, I-N-A, Dr. Safina. You'll get that. It'll be the first thing that pops up, and you'll see footage of the flight that I'm talking about. You'll see the plumes. You'll see what he refers to as these anaconda-like things of oil. I mean, the fingers of oil that just go on for miles. You get the film over the surface of the oil, which is pretty much a sheet everywhere. It's almost constant. It's pretty bad, man. I wish I could tell you otherwise. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, and the feeling I'm getting from the locals, they're losing patience. I mean, they're at the end of the rope.
I'd be at the end of my rope a month ago. As a matter of fact, I'd probably have some rope in my hand ready to string somebody up for what they've done to that.
As it stands right now, there's really no end in sight right now.
Right. Hey, James, I got a caller on the line that I'm going to bring on. Mark, you're on the line with James Fox.
Hi, James Fox. How you doing?
Hi, Mark. Thanks for calling in.
I'd like to get a little bit of help from you, some advice, some counsel. I have two daughters. I heard you say Belle Chase. I used to live in Belle Chase. In fact, I lived in New Orleans for 20 years. I'm in Edinburgh, Scotland right now, and I'm kind of out of the loop as far as being able to influence people personally. But my two daughters in New Orleans are on my mind, and I have a brother in southern Florida with three children, and it seems that I can't really push through the urgency in here, and I would like you to confirm what Scott Johnson has been putting out as far as this toxicity in the air and the possibility of a tidal surge, if not the extended Madrid fault line cracking and possible tidal wave coming out of the Gulf of Mexico and moving 200 miles north, as Scott Johnson has already done. Do you perceive this as imminent danger that should be addressed by moving right now?
I tell you what I can do is I've heard about this. If you send me an email at James C as in Charles Fox, James C. Fox at Gmail, I will forward that to this marine biologist who's got much more information on this than I would have, and I'll gladly get back to you with a detailed response.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for calling in.
Wow, that's something else, and there has been a lot of talk about that, James, especially with the theory out there, and I don't want to say theory because BP has admitted to damaging the well casing when they perform that top kill procedure, but there's a lot of talk about the sea floor being damaged, and the reason why they can't stop the leak, stop it hard, is because if they do that, then you're going to get oil that's going to start to come up from every orifice along the seafloor, and now at that point it's unstoppable. And I didn't know if you've talked to anybody down there, if there are any geologists down there, or anybody that you've talked to that can confirm that. Have you talked to anybody like that?
I did actually. This was brought up to me about a week ago, and I called Dr. Carl Safina and asked him about it. He said he had been hearing about some of these things. He was following up with some people in the scientific community, and would get back to me on that. But he had been hearing some of those reports, but they were, like I said, he just didn't know. So I can't say. I don't know. I hope to God that's not the case.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, and believe me, we're not out to fearmonger. That's the last thing we want to do. The only thing we want to do is make sure that the truth gets out to people. So they don't overreact, but they don't underreact as well.
Like I said, I can confirm for sure that he had heard of that, but he needed to research further before he could comment on it, but he had heard of it. And I encourage any of your listeners, if you have any serious questions, I mean, I'm just reporting what I see and what I hear out here. I'm not a specialist, I'm just be your eyes and ears. And if you do have some questions that I'm not able to answer, I will put them forward to the people in the best position that can.
Well, I certainly do appreciate that. And I mean, really, James, anytime you want to come on the show or any of our shows here on Freedom Link Radio, you're more than welcome to do so, to give us whatever updates that you have, because there are a lot of people that have a vested interest in this thing coming to a resolution. But unfortunately, I don't see it happening in a positive way. As a matter of fact, I've seen them pretty much botch everything, and every type of operation that they've undertaken since this has begun has been botched. And I hear quite often President Obama, well, we've been on the job since day one, or as like I call him, Chairman Maobama. He's almost delusional. We've been on the job for almost day